Welcome to the FENS Forum podcast 2024 for Saturday, June the 29th, the last of 5 packed days. For the overwhelming majority of delegates, this forum appears to have been a resounding success, but the smooth execution of the conference is down to a group of organisers whose job it is to worry about an endless series of practical details. I met up with 2 such people, Inbar Caspi, who's been managing the FENS Forum for the last 5 years, and Inês Oliveira, who supports the scientific programme. First, Inbar explained that the 5 days of FENS Forum 24 is just the visible end of a long process.
We are actually working on 3 FENS Forums in parallel, so we already know where we are going to be in 2028. And the preparation starts. We already had a meeting today with a host society of 2026 and 2028. We are already starting to work on them. So it's a cycle. We are working basically on every event, almost 2 years.
So we know it's going to be Madrid in 2026. Do we know where it's going to be in 2026?
We do, but it's going to be announced at the closing ceremony.
Okay, so it's a secret. When you say that you work on these things, and I know that you're an essential worker sort of behind the scenes, what is your day-to-day life like putting all this together? What kinds of things do you have to do?
Well, we are, as FENS, not only on my position, we are responsible of every aspect of the forum, starting from the scientific program to the exposure of scientists from all levels through the scientific program, posters, etc. This is what I don't do. This is what Inês is doing. From my perspective, it's everything to do with the finances and the operations. So it's finding the venues, signing the contracts, negotiation, managing the budget, how much we charge for registration, where people are going to sleep, where they are going to eat, how the sustainability of it will look. We are making very great effort to really look at our participants as our guests and for them to have the best care from where they sleep to what they will listen to, the comfort in the halls, to affordable meals, to the city that they're at. So there's many aspects that we are looking at, and it's not that at 1 month we're looking at that and the other month we're looking at that. It just, as we move forward, we just spiral with all these activities.
And it's detail.
Yeah, it's many details.
Yeah. Has the forum gone as well as you'd hoped? I mean, as far as the participants are concerned, it's been a fantastic success, as far as I can tell. From your point of view, has it been, whoa, that's a problem, or that's a problem, or has it gone like clockwork for you?
No, this time it really went like clockwork. We still have a full day. Until now it went as expected, even better. A combination of a great venue, great suppliers, very good coordination throughout the cycle. I'm very happy with the outcome.
That's exactly what you need. And we're also joined by Inês, who works as well, very much behind the scenes. Inês, what is actually your job?
So my job is mostly supporting the program committee with the selection of the plenaries, the symposia, managing the system in which submissions are done for abstracts, and then all of the process of helping the program committee allocate them and making sure that everything goes smoothly on the program side of things.
And when did you start work on this?
So I started almost 2 years ago, and it's pretty much a cycle. The same way that you see the calls come. First you have the call for symposia and then call for abstracts. That's the same way that my job evolves following the calls.
Do you get to enjoy anything of the conference yourself?
One tries to, but you're constantly having to run from one place to the other, just making sure that everything is going well, that all the speakers are where they're supposed to be. And so sometimes you get to sit down for maybe 20 minutes and hear a little bit of the science.
And have all your speakers turned up?
So far, so good. There's still one more day.
We mustn't tempt fate. Okay.
No, there's always some last-minute issues with everyone, but so far there haven't been any major crisis with speakers.
Well, I've had the privilege of going around talking to people attending the conference and asking them about their experience, and it's all been incredibly positive. So I think when this is all over, you can pat yourselves on the back and hopefully have a few days, maybe a few weeks of a well-earned rest. Inês and Inbar, thank you both very much for talking to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is probably a good moment to hear from a few passing forum goers. What have they made of these 5 days in Vienna?
I'm pretty interested in all this mindfulness, meditation, breathwork sessions. So this is first time I see it at FENS, because last time I've attended FENS in Paris, and I think such kind of stuff was not available.
I really like the variety of the sessions. So in addition to the more academic type sessions where you're looking at the really interesting work that people are doing, we've also had a number of other sessions focusing on things that are perhaps not as highlighted as much, so things like mental health in academia, the use of animal models as well, which is something that I hear talked about more and more these days. So I would say the variety of things I've quite liked, being able to dip into different things that are quite interesting.
So I think what I have enjoyed the most is often the plenary sessions, the plenary lectures, because one has the opportunity to learn a bit beyond our fields. They are usually given in a very clear manner and that everyone can follow, and I think it's always very refreshing to learn a bit beyond our own fields.
And I was impressed by how many people are here, and impressed by the conference hall, especially the hall A, how tall it is and how big the interest is for neuroscience. Yeah.
Is there any event that really stood out for you?
I just have like a talk I really liked about cannabis and the problems of it, that it's like dangerous for becoming schizophrenic. Like, yeah, I didn't know that, didn't expect that, so that was maybe the highlight for me.
I think there's been a few kind of notable lectures. I really enjoyed the brain debate, the kind of looking at the AI and kind of making sure we're kind of fully aware of some of the ethics involved in that. And I think also the poster sessions, I've really enjoyed kind of going around and speaking to people, kind of seeing the research that's been done.
Yeah, I found the plenary lectures, I feel like they were really good, and I really enjoyed them.
I believe the personal connection with great professors and authors and scientists. It's very. I'm as a young neuroscientist. It's very useful for me. Yeah.
Maybe two things. I think that there is always the thing that you can get back to some collaborators and see them in person instead of Zoom and stuff, and that's always cool. And I think that it's also cool to see all those brilliant scientists and new things that emerge, and to see like the posters and stuff, all the new tools that are developed. I think that's encouraging. I'm a PhD student, so that's what encourages me to continue.
Did you get to go to any of the parties?
Yes, to the jump the fence. Yes, I get to the parties. That was fun. Less science, but fun.
Every event has required careful logistical support. And here in Vienna, FENS has worked closely with the specialist organisation KIT.
So I'm Nina. I work for KIT Group since 6 years, and I'm the project manager for the FENS Forum 2024. And basically, I'm in charge of coordinating the logistics.
I'm Florence. I'm the account director of KIT Group, and I'm working with FENS since 2 years, and just coordinating the security, the budget, all the logistics, the coordination of the team.
I'm Rafael. I'm working also for KIT Group since more than 6 years, and I am now here at FENS coordinating the social events and the catering.
Perfect, thank you. Nina, I'm assuming it's life for you is very relaxed, and you sleep well, and there's no real stress associated with this job. Is that true?
That's perfectly true. Look, we are not stressed at all. No, of course it's very challenging. There is a lot of little things coming one after the other, sometimes together, that we have to manage. But that's what we like, and that's what we do this job. And we like the challenge, we like the adrenaline.
What are the main challenges?
All the details. It's really everything is in the details. The smallest thing can become problematic if you don't pay attention to it. For example, I don't know, the specificity of FENS is really they have so many posters. The poster array is huge. I think we have over 4,500 posters. And you have to think of how to stick them on the wall and to have the exact amount of stickers for all the posters. This kind of details, if you don't think of it through before, then it can be a bit problematic on site, for example.
Did you have any surprises that, stick in your mind, things you thought, oh, I did not think it would be like that?
Yeah, of course, that always happens. You always have surprises, good or bad, it depends, but you always have surprises where you're like, oh, I haven't thought about it. And actually, the poster is a great idea. It's a great thing because we thought we had like 21,000 stickers and we thought it would be enough, but it wasn't. So we had to last minute on site figure out a solution for it to work. And it sounds like a small detail, but it's important.
So, Florence, you're all really problem solvers, aren't you? Problems arise, and you have to solve
Exactly.
them.
We just have to find a solution straight and just think of what we should just do, and very quickly, just to find solution to all the challenges.
This is an amazing building, the Messe Wien here in Vienna. Does it present you with any particular challenges when you turned up to look at this building?
Yes, definitely. The registration area, because this building is just made of glass, and it's exactly the week where it's really hot. And for our team at the registration area, and because of the building and the AC, we just push at the maximum, but it's really hot for the team. And so we just had to take care that there are enough fridges, that we put the aircon when we can, that we have water for all the team and the participants, and we just took care as well with the first aid, if just that everybody is just fine, and so that it's working properly. But here, that is the main challenge, I would say, this building with the glass. But in terms of flow, it's just really good because you have more than 7,000 participants, and just coming from a full hall of 5,000 persons, and there's just dispatching in 10 minutes and all over the room. So we just have to manage this flow of so many people coming at one time and just organize the overflow when it's needed very quickly.
And you employ a lot of people yourselves. KIT has a lot of people. What kinds of things do those people do?
Oh, actually, we need to think very carefully to have enough people where it's needed. So you have the whole registration team, you have the people in the exhibition that are taking care that the exhibitors are happy. We have team at the poster help desk. We have a team just checking the app and the speakers and program changes. We have someone taking care of the catering, of the social events, and we have as well the help of everybody who when we just need some help, that they're just coming at the moment when needed. Because when you have 3 rooms doing overflow at the same time, you need to have the double of person in front of all the rooms and just making sure that the retransmission is right with the AV team as well.
Perfect, thank you. And Rafael, I wanted to ask you particularly, so you take care of catering and other things. Tell me about the Jump the Fence event. I know that was a particular speciality of
it has
yours.
been a big...
I heard that it was an absolute blast. People loved it.
Yeah, it has been a big party. We had almost 2,000 people joining the party. It was the perfect space for FENS, for this party. I also would like to mention, because this has been a long journey, it's not, we are preparing FENS since a long time. And we have a colleague which unfortunately didn't come, and it was Anne Port, which started to to work on these social events. So I'm here also for her, and I wanted to mention her because she has been really working hard that everything works perfectly. And yeah, exactly, it was like that. We had a really success event, having 2,000 people on these floors, and all participants really joined it and told us that it was a great party to remember.
I heard fantastic reports about it, and sadly wasn't there myself. So everybody's enjoying themselves. They're on three levels. They're dancing, there's food, there are drinks, and people are really enjoying themselves. What's going on in your mind?
Well, in our mind, there are thousands of things at the same time. We have to think about security. We have to think about that there is enough food and enough personnel that can help. It has been also a challenge to get the people in. So because we were waiting 2,000 people to come more or less at the same time. So we had also a big team of registration on site on Jam Defense. But it went really smooth and well, so it was a perfect.
Thanks, all three of you, Rafael, Florence, Nina. Thanks so much for your time. I know you're incredibly busy people, and I appreciate you taking time out to talk to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Somehow those WhatsApp pings going off every few seconds seemed very appropriate in that interview. Now, FENS tries to put an emphasis on sustainability, and maybe you've tried hard to think about your carbon footprint when travelling to the forum. Well, meet Lukas Krone.
Yeah, I'm Lukas Krone. I'm a medical doctor and sleep researcher. I work on the homeostatic regulation of sleep, so we try to find out how the brain keeps track of how long we've been awake, and then assures that we sleep deep and long enough when we have been awake for a certain period of time.
Now, you seem to have a novel way of getting yourself to sleep. You cycle enormous distances across Europe. So I'm being playful here, but tell us what you've done, because it's absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, so when I saw that the FENS Forum is taking place in Vienna, I actually just opened my cycling app and checked if it's possible to go from Oxford to Vienna by bike. And I realized that I would be passing through so many beautiful parts of Europe and could stop by several sleep labs. And so I decided to make this a charity bike ride from Oxford to Vienna.
So which charity is it in aid of?
So there's a UK charity in my town where I live at the moment called Homeless Oxfordshire, and a charity in my hometown Würzburg in Germany where the Euro fundraiser goes to. And that looks at providing psychiatric support for homeless people in my hometown.
And how many miles is it that you've cycled?
Or
kilometres?
It's just over 2,000 kilometers, so 2,015 kilometers.
That's very precise, 2015. I bet you know every single one of them, or you felt every single
Exactly.
one of them. How long did it take you to get here?
So it took me 3.5 weeks. I had 20 days of cycling with about 100 kilometers each day, but I also had 5 rest days where I stopped at friends' places and recovered for a bit.
You must have cycled, from Oxford to the coast somewhere. Which coastal point did you go to?
I cycled from Oxford to Dover, but I stopped by Surrey and London because both cities have amazing sleep research. And so my first stop was at the Sleep Research Centre in Surrey, and the second stop was in London to visit 2 sleep labs there. And then I stopped in Canterbury to see the old city and the cathedral, and then headed south towards Dover to take the ferry to Dunkirk.
And then from Dunkirk, you made your way across to Vienna.
Yeah, so from Dunkirk east through a little bit of France, a lot of Belgium, and briefly through the Netherlands. And then in Germany, I cycled along the Rhine River, the Main River, and then finally the Danube down to Vienna.
And it must have been, at times, really quite challenging.
I think I learned a lot about myself. In the beginning, I measured myself a lot and counted kilometers and hours that I was on the bike. Whereas towards the end of the journey, I just enjoyed being on the bike, and it becomes a habit and actually a real joy to just have a few hours a day to listen to audiobooks or talk to friends who came along for individual stages.
So people came and cycled alongside of you?
Mm-hmm. So I started off in Oxford with some of my rowing friends, and then I was joined at different stages by close friends or colleagues who decided to support the project by hosting me and then cycling for a day with me.
And how much time did you give yourself to sleep every day?
So as a sleep researcher, I know that sleep is essential not only for brain recovery but also for the recovery of our body. And so I try to get about 7 to 8 hours each night. And we still don't know how physical activity promotes sleep. But from my N=1 experiment, I can say that in fact it really helps with sleep.
As long as you don't sleep on the bike.
Well, there might be some local sleep or unihemispheric sleep. It would have been interesting to do a recording what actually happens to the brain while we're on the bike.
You said you're doing this for charity also. Do you know how much money you've been able to raise for your charity?
Mm-hmm. So the fundraising target was £2,000, which would be the equivalent of putting one person up in a safe place to sleep in Oxford for one entire year. And at the moment we have raised £2,350, but also more than €2,000 for the German charity. And I hope that some people will still donate and contribute to this charity project.
You've made it here to the FENS Forum. You have to make it back. Are you going to cycle back?
No, actually, so at some point I have to go back and do some experiments. But in order to really make sure that it's an environmentally sustainable journey, I'm taking the train back to Germany and then the next day the train from Germany to the UK.
And how are you actually feeling now?
Well, I must say I feel very awake. The journey has been wonderful, and I think being exposed to natural light during the day and having good sleep each night really helped me to also detach a little bit from my everyday work and arrive with many new ideas and very many new options for my scientific career here in Vienna.
Have you ever done a journey as long as this before?
No, so I've done several shorter bike rides, and after my PhD submission I cycled from Liverpool to Inverness, and then really the idea came up that I could also do this for sustainability and attend scientific meetings by going there by bike.
When you set out, were you convinced that you could do this? And I'm sure you must have felt it would be hard, but were you convinced that you could do it?
Well, I was convinced, but I was hesitant to share the fundraiser because I thought people would think this is crazy. But then after a week I realized that it's actually going really well, and I shared the fundraiser much more widely, and I was encouraged by people supporting me and encouraging me to do this project and follow through.
The extraordinary Lukas Krone there. Now today is the day that the FENS presidency changes hands. Professor Ole Keen began the day as president-elect. He's going to finish it as president. So we asked him for his thoughts.
It's been fantastic to be at this forum. One of the things I maybe enjoy most is to go down to the poster area. It's like going into a marketplace where you hear it summing, you hear all the voices of all the people that are engaged in scientific discussion. You walk up and down the alley, you see engaged young scientists, older scientists, and more mature scientists that are all interacting, discussing science. This is the fantastic thing about the forum. There are so many posters. The other thing is that we have many symposiums where people are presenting the new science that they have, also engaged in nice discussions and interaction. And the plenary lectures that we have seen here has been of an amazing quality. You have the chance to go in, hear about something you might not know so well, and get a fantastic overview. And even there have been fantastic scientific discussions afterwards. And again, this is a melting pot for people to meet. It's fantastic to see 4,000 people or more than 4,000 people sitting in the same room, listen to an exciting lecture. And then, of course, there's all the social activity outside. Jump the Fence this year was absolutely amazing. I wish I could have been there longer because that's where you also see what people have good time. I'm really excited about being the president of FENS. I'm also a bit humble because I'm following in the footsteps of many great previous scientists who have served as presidents of this society. And I think the excellence of FENS is upheld by all its parts, including the members of the executive committee, the educational committees, the advocacy, the equality committees, and also the support of the team in Brussels. I really hope for FENS in the future that we can focus on our core activities, which is to promote science, but not in Europe, but not only in Europe. It has a perspective that reaches out in a more global scale. I also want to say that we really live in a time when science does not always occupy a prominent place in society. And I hope that we, through our activities, can raise the awareness of neuroscience among the broader public, but also among policymakers around Europe. I think it's crucial for us to convey the message that basic neuroscience is really fundamental to any translational effort that we have. And of course, finally, I also hope that we can strengthen our educational activities, including summer school and winter school, and foster education within and across borders. And of course, in all of this, the cornerstone of all these activities is inclusiveness and diversity and openness.
Professor Ole Keane there. And of course, Professor Irene Tracy is in the reverse position. Her term of office has come to an end, and we wondered how she feels as she looks back.
Well, I think Ole has said everything that any president, elect, past, current, future, not even born yet, would want to say. So thank you, Ole, for that fantastic summary, not just of the meeting, but of just where we are currently in science. And you can see why we're all so relieved and happy that Ole took on the role of president for FENS, and it will be in fantastic, brilliant hands going forward. It's been a great meeting. I think we all feel a great sense of relief here on the last day that it's gone so well. And again, I'd like to give my gratitude and thanks to the team that have just been amazing in the office, led by Tasha Hasakawa, and of course, Inbar, Caspi and Inês, who've done so much to support the efforts of KIT, our new PCO, who have really knocked it out the park and delivered a Congress that we really hoped would be as good as this and as majestic as this, and it really has been. And again, all credit and thanks to the Host Society Committee of Austria and Hungary and Sigi Hoog. Of course, the Programme Committee developed the programme, and as Ole said, it was just a stellar lineup of people, and really pleasing to see new names for people, the next generation of neuroscientists coming through, just giving fantastic summaries of their topics. And I always love a plenary, not that I get to many, because in my role, as Ole will know in a couple of years, you sit in a lot of meetings throughout the day where we meet with all our very important business partners and partners who help us support all the neuroscience that we're doing. But every now and again, you get to go out and get to hear something, and everyone has been breathtaking. So all credit to Lisa de la Prida and the Programme Committee for their hard work developing such a fantastic lineup and such a creative one, which again shows the diversity that we've got now in our FENS community. The buzz has been amazing. I mean, it's Saturday morning. Normally people are heading home. I took a picture, in fact, this morning coming in, because there was still a throng of people walking in, wanting to still learn, still engage with the neuroscience. And that is fantastic and not common. So that just shows, I think it's a reflection of the quality of the meeting that we've had, but also the enjoyment that people have clearly, experienced whilst they've been here to sort of look at now in the exhibition space and the posters, and there's still a throng of people wanting to exchange. A couple of the lectures that I did get to, so on the first night I was able to get to the Cheek and Hans Schaller lectures, so a couple of awardees there. So again, learning new things for me around organoids and some of the translational work to solve some of the various disorders and diseases. So it was wonderful to witness some of that new cutting edge, both very basic science in development, but also real translational, making an impact already into sort of phase 2 clinical research. And I think that's what FENS is. It's a forum where, as Ole said, it's a crucible for people to come together, whether you're working in absolutely blue sky basic research, but you're able to bump into and have a conversation with somebody who might well want to go back and pick that up and put that into the clinic. And this is who we are, and this is what we can do. So a terrific meeting, just, profound gratitude for everybody for all the effort they've put in. FENS will go forward, being that voice for neuroscience in Europe. I think we've put it in a good place now for, again, this next era. Tasha has built a great team in the Brussels office. We've got wonderful collaborators and partners who are really supportive of the mission of FENS, which is to make sure that we disseminate neuroscience through our journal, EJN. So again, we've been really talking a lot about the importance of the journal, that this is the community's journal. I again stress and encourage people to think about putting their papers in there and to support their journal, because this is the journal that, again, helps us share our science, but also it helps fund a lot of the activities that's important, as does the forum. So those activities that we support, again, through our education committee to support training, travel scholarships, bursaries, so that we can support people's aspirations, to continue their learning and training. That's so important for us. Developing networks. Obviously, we've celebrated the 10th FENS Cavli this week birthday party, so that's wonderful to see that network now really maturing and seeing many members of them become now in leadership here in the organisation. And so again, I think we've got some very strong networks with the FKNE and the ENCODES network. And I know that they're really keen to support another mission for FENS, which is to get more into advocacy and outreach, so that we can again be, as Ole said, that voice that you've got to have something to translate. And if you dry the pipeline of discovery, then you've got nothing to translate. So we need to be there. We need to be reminding our policymakers, our governments in each of our national societies and countries, as well as in Central Europe, that we need to fund basic discovery neuroscience, because that is going to be the route by which we'll solve some of the big challenges that we are facing. So really pleased to see, that FENS is going to be putting a spotlight more on that advocacy and outreach, and that we will have these wonderful young next generation scientists who will be inheriting the field and will be inheriting the decisions that policymakers are making. Therefore, they should be the voices at the table, reminding them about the importance of neuroscience. So good times ahead for FENS. I wish everybody safe journeys home, and thank everybody for their participation and the efforts they've made coming here to Vienna, and look forward to seeing them all in Madrid in 2026 or at the regional meeting in Oslo, Norway next year.
Professor Irene Tracy there, ending our podcast for today and our podcast series for FENS Forum 24. It's been a pleasure to share glimpses of the forum through the week with you. Thank you for listening. The FENS Forum podcast was presented by me, Malcolm Love. Music is by Dennis Kiszczuk, and this was a FENS production by Solid Gold Hat.